Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to a Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am not the Drew. He is driving up to Atlanta to watch that wonderful game that is ours comes Sunday at 1 o'clock. Yes, Drew is not going to be joining us live, sadly, unless he's listening to us in the car and commenting in the comment section, just like everyone else out there. Drew, safe travels. Enjoy the game. And should be fun. Currently, right now, I mean, we got a lot of news to go over. We got to go over Drew and mine's picks of the week. We got some Giants news. We got some little bit of rumors going on. We got a live Thursday night football game going on right now with the Broncos and the Chargers playing. And Drew and I both took the Chargers in this game. In the first half, we're at 14-10 as we're live, as the Broncos are in the red zone currently. So we'll keep you updated on that. Drew and I might be off to a goose egg for the week because the total points is 24. We went with the under. So we shall see. That being said, let's get right into it. Brian Flores for the New York Giants head coach. Possibly, maybe not. Ralph Vacchiano of the Fox News NFL made a suggestion that head coach Brian Daboll wasn't completely ununanimous choice inside the Giants organization when the GM Joe Schoen hired him in 2022. Ooh, drama. There was a lot of internal support for Brian Flores, which Drew and I both called out back in the day. We've all said it multiple times since then. Who was the runner-up? Giants loved his coaching ability, his leadership, and pretty much everything about him. Yeah. Since then, he's filed a racial discrimination against the NFL and the New York Giants, among others, claiming their interviews with him was a sham, just so they could comply with the Rooney Rule. But people dropped or settled lawsuits all the time and move on with their lives. And if the Giants fired Daboll, which seems increasingly likely, just saying, that's what two parties should do here, because Flores deserves another shot at the head coach job, and the Giants need someone with his toughness, leadership, and experience. The Dolphins made a mistake letting him go back in 2021. The Giants shouldn't make the same mistake twice. He's the type of coach they need to stabilize their floundering program to start the turnaround. Those are some bold moves. Statements from Ralph, which is some craziness. As Anthony comes in here saying, do you think we would actually come here after Flores was turned down? I do. If the opportunity came around, he came back and did those sham interviews and gets hired. Yeah, I think so. He's also got to remember, like Drew and I talked about last episode, Schoen and Daboll were like the two guys you get. If it was a draft, those were your number one guys, your number one picks for your head coach and your GM. So to lose to Brian Daboll isn't that bad. In hindsight, it's not that good. But at the time, when we got him 3 years ago, that was the guy to get. And everyone rode that train saying, hey, look at what Brian Daboll did with this floundering team in 2022. Took us to the playoffs, won a game. Hindsight again, terrible choice. based off the last 2 years. 8 wins total in 2 years is not a good record. Yeah, so I do think he would take the opportunity possibly to come through. As Deb comes in. As for discrimination, they have Kafka, who is a Latino. This is true. And Giants, I mean, I don't think they would discriminate. I don't think they're that kind of organization. They're pretty welcome to all types of peoples of everything. So, yeah, they have a lot of white head coaches, but that's what it was for a long time. But this is modern NFL, and the Giants are going with modern times. I don't think it's a discrimination thing. I think Daboll was the go get at the time, and they got him, and everyone was happy. It wasn't anything against Vrabel. As Anthony comes in, that's fair. He would be a nice fit. I think so. Just like Ralph said in the interview on Fox Sports, he's a tough guy. He's a go-getter. He helped turn around the Miami Dolphins at a time when they were abysmal, kind of like what the Giants have been the past few years. So it could be a nice turnaround. So yeah, Flores could be something interesting. But like Drew and I said, I would like to see Mike Vrabel, and I would not like to see another non-discrimination charge because that's the guy we would like to go get. But I would also not be upset if we turn around and we get Brian Flores. All right, going up next, some more juicy news from none other than Malik Nabers going for the records, which, I mean, we've been saying this. If he was healthy, he could be breaking all of Puka Nacua's records with a good quarterback, per se, if you will. But Nabers has 90 catches for 901 yards and 4 touchdowns this season. He and Odell Beckham, 2 LSU products and the Giants' first-round draft choices, are the only 2 players in the league history with 90-plus receptions, 900-plus yards receiving, and 4-plus touchdowns in their first 12 career games. So kudos to Nabers, because let's face it, Giants fans, when Odell comes around knocking, everyone starts talking about Odell and how great he is. With 3 games remaining, Nabers is on track to join the select group of rookies to reach 100 receptions, which goes into Arizona's Bolden, 101 in 2003, Miami's Waddle with 104 in 2021, the Penguin himself, and the Rams' Puka Nacua. It's just a fun name to say, Puka Nacua, which was last year, which is a rookie record with 105. And the Las Vegas Raiders rookie tight end Brock Bowers, who also is with 90 receptions, who could hit the mark as well. If you're all doing DraftKings, Bauer was a great pickup. If you're all into regular fantasy football like I am, he is helping pave the way to the playoffs with the first seed bye. Boom. First place guy. Nabers and Bowers need 16 receptions to surpass Puka Nacua's rookie mark, which 3 games left. There's plenty of possibility, and there's also some opportunities as well. But good thing we're playing Atlanta, whose defense is like a hit or miss these days. With 2 catches this week versus the Atlanta Falcons, Nabers would become the Giants' rookie record holder, surpassing the mark of 91 receptions set by Beckham in 2014 and tie by Saquon Barkley 4 years later. So he's in some good class. So, guys, when we talk about was it the right choice to reach for a quarterback in the first round with the 6th overall pick, or go get a guy like this that's generational talent? This is something you have to think about when you look at these records. Yeah, we have not played well. It shows on paper, but when you look at some of these stats here, like, it's something that you have to look at and think about the future. Because if we go get a Cam Ward, the guy that could throw it to him a lot more, how much better can Nabers be playing? As Anthony also chimes in saying, anything would be nice right now as long as it's not dabs. 100%. Yeah, I'm sorry, he's probably out the door. Bye, 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 his instinct says. And he also chimes in, as a fellow fantasy football player, Bowers has saved me multiple weeks now. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Nabers needs 99 yards to join Odell Beckham Jr. with 1,305 yards in the season, as the only rookies in Giants history with 1,000 receiving yards. Once again, any receiver with 1,000 plus yards goes down as a pretty good receiver. And doing it as your rookie, pretty nice. Robbie like. I'm sure Drew likes too, but he's all the way out there in La La Land, just driving all around. But he's like Wile E. Coyote, or like Looney Tunes, sort of the Muppets, just trying to go to Atlanta. Odell Beckham is the only rookie in NFL history to have 4 games with at least 10 receptions. Neighbor has 3 such games. So what you're really trying to say here with Neighbors is, yeah, guys, this guy stays healthy. You get him a good quarterback. We get our line looking better like it was at the beginning of the year, even improve it off that. Get some good head coaching, some good offensive plays going on here. You're looking at a guy that could be setting some records as a sophomore as well. So let's go to the future, because I'm excited. I don't know about you all, but this is a dud year, but in the long run, this could help us out. And Drew and I also talked, like, if we get the number one overall pick, and we don't like George Sanders, and the Raiders want to come up knocking on our door saying, hey, do you want the 2nd pick overall and 2nd round pick next year and another 3 picks in this draft? Just think how much better we could be right away. Because look what the Lions did 3 years ago, and look how much better they've played. Like, that's something you need to do, to switch team around big time. That's called a legit rebuild. So it is some exciting times. Also, up next, you also have to talk about Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie to the Black College Hall of Fame. So, yeah, ex-Giants will be introduced to the Black College Hall of Fame, DRC, during their announcement of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. They said Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, Tennessee State, from 04 to 07. The Florida native was the 2007 FCS All-American defensive back who started 39 games in his whole time down there. Drafted in the 1st round off the 2008 draft by the Cardinals. Spent 3 seasons in Arizona. Later played 9 years with 5 other teams: Eagles, Broncos, Giants, Raiders, and the Redskins from 2011 to 2019. Dominic was a 1st round pick from the Cardinals in 2018. He signed as a free agent with Giants in 2014. Spent 4 seasons in New York, earning 2 Pro Bowls and the 2nd All Pro. In 61 games for the Giants, he had 44 starts, 193 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 QB hits, a sack and a half, 47 passing defense, 11 interceptions, and 1 defensive touchdown. So, golf clap to Dominic over there. Boom. Anthony comes in saying, absolutely trade down and take Ward. At the end of the day, either one of those guys are good, but I lean a little bit closer to Ward because I think he has a high ceiling in this league. I think he kind of fits the scheme of what the Giants have been doing. Not to take anything away from Sanders, but I also don't need a drama queen to be under center in New York, especially if he's going to get thrown out there his freshman year without a bridge quarterback. I think Ward might be able to handle that pressure a little bit better without pissing off Giants fans, without, for lame terms, if you will. Like, I just don't want the drama that could come into a player like Sanders. Like, I like the way he plays. I like who he is, but you also get the Sanders name and the Sanders mentality with the Sanders family member. It's just going to happen. That's what they are. That also being said, he's not the biggest dude out there, but neither is Ward. And it kind of feels like this is the way the draft's been going of recent years. It kind of been like shrinking down. It's like they all watch Super Size Me and they don't want to get too beefy. I don't know. But a lot of these players coming up, they ain't making them like the East have, at least at the first rounds. But that being said, he comes from a heritage of family that's been in the NFL. Like, Deion's been one of the best in the game. So I don't know what you can do from there, except for taking Beefcake 5000, as Anthony also comes in saying, Sanders' size and attitude worries me. Ward is bigger and definitely has the higher ceiling. 100% agree with you. 100% exactly where I was going with all that. So, I mean, it also depends what you want to do. Like Drew and I talked about last podcast, what you can do in a mock draft. But if you want to hear all about the mock draft, you guys should circle back and watch us not live and actually talk about who we would take and possibly where, who else you could possibly take, because it can be a little interesting there. But that being said, what we should do over here is get right into the Bills.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All right, guys. This is what we all came here for. This is our Thursday podcast. What do we do every Thursday? We talk about football. We talk about football around the league. We're talking about the football game that's going on now. The Broncos are up 21-10. If you're listening not live, then you're like, duh, Rob, this is the final score. But you know what? There's 2 minutes left. It's right before a 2-minute warning in the first half. Yeah, still 21-10 as Chargers are trying to march down the field to make it 21-17. But we shall see on that. So let's dive right into wee. So like I just said, Drew and I both took the Chargers to win this game. We took the Chargers to cover the spread. We said it's going to be a tough, gritty game, but it's probably going to be in the under, and they're probably going to do a lot of running the ball. And Drew, looks like we were a little wrong in this thus far, but we weren't that far off. Instead of just being a slower pace game, it's a little bit of a fast paced game. So, and it's definitely not going to be under. So maybe we weren't that close at all. Maybe we were just way off, and I just like to come for us, but that's not the case, I guess. So yeah, the over under in this game is 42. So they're currently at 31, and it's about to go up, and that's in the first half. The second game that we're going to talk about is on Saturday. Yes, the Saturday football games has returned. Thank you. I love watching Saturday footballs and not have to worry about work the next day and eating too much wings and hating my life Sunday morning. First game up, you got the Texans going into Kansas City, possibly without Mahomes. Do they send him? Do they rest him? They should. They probably won't, but that's just kind of my thoughts on that. They're also the 3-point favorites in this game, and the over-under is at 41.5 points. Now, I took my picks based off what I just said. I think they're probably going to sit down Mahomes, let him rest up a little bit. I think anyone that's a little banged up, They clinch their spot in the playoffs. They don't need to prove themselves. Why go out there and hurt themselves against the Texans that really need this game overall? So I'm taking the Texans to win this game. And if they win this game, they're obviously going to cover that spread up in there because the 3 points is nothing. But I'm going to take it in the under, which I'm actually going to change a lot of in the air. It's just way Drew can't say anything. I'm going to go with the over in this game because I think it's going to be back and forth, and I don't think it's going to stop until it's too late. But Drew is going to go with the Chiefs to win this game, but he's going to take the Texans to cover this game. Very smart, just in case, Drew. You're going to take a 1-1. And he's going to go with the under in this game, which I can understand why, because the Chiefs like to really slow down ball games this year. They don't like to use Mahomes like they did the first couple years they had him. They like to run the ball, short dink-and-dunk passes, and just keep moving the ball and run that clock and keeping their defense, which has been flying under the radar the past years about how good they've been playing, which has been like top 5 to 10 on average in this league. Pretty much week in and week out, not just like a couple bad games here and there. So, yeah, the only thing Drew and I agree on this game is going to be the Giants and the Texans in the spread. The next game on Saturday at 4:30 is the Steelers going into Baltimore. And the Ravens, for some crazy reason, is giving up 6.5 points. Yes, they're playing at home, but they're playing against a tough Steelers team. And the over-under in this game is at 44.5 points. Drew's going to take the Ravens to win this game, which is kind of where a lot of people will lean in this. He's going to take the Steelers in a 6.5 point spread, which pretty smart because majority of the Steelers games, they play pretty close to that spread. And he's going to take the over. So he's going to assume he's going to go over 45 points in this game. I'm going to have to disagree with Drew. I think the Steelers are going to win this game outright. If you go back in the past 5 times that Lamar Jackson's played the Steelers, he's won once against the spread. He's been out because of sitting out. They let the backup quarterback play the one time where they lost against the Steelers as well. So it's a little dicey. Yes, they're in Baltimore, but the Ravens have been playing good. Lamar Jackson's been playing great, but the Steelers as a unit has been really clicking. Yes. Did Russell Wilson look that great last week without Pickens? No. But other players pick up in the absence of different players. They play slower football. I think it's going to be an upset, and Steelers win, Steelers cover. And then I'm also going to take the under in this game because it's going to be one of those divisional games, I believe, that it's going to be low scoring. And it's very important that the Steelers win this because then they can actually win the division. So you better believe they're going to be playing their cojones out. Going into Sunday, or as Drew puts, Sunday, you got the Browns playing the Bengals, another AFC North divisional game. This one's hosted in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by 7.5 points. And the over-under in this game is at 47 points. Drew and I pretty much believe across the board, for the most part in this, James Winston is a fun quarterback to watch to play, but he has not played well the past couple of weeks. And I think that continues. Can he look better against this Bengals defense? Absolutely, because they're a terrible defense. But they're also playing at home. And the Bengals have been playing terrible football, but they're not out of the woods yet. They're 2 games behind of making a wild card spot. So crazier things have happened in the NFL. So they're going to be playing against this Browns team who's not played good football at all. I think they come out balling, and Drew and I both agree that the Bengals will win this game. They will cover that spread in a shellacking, a shazam, if you will. Drew's going to take the over in this game. Or sorry, the under in this game. I'm going to take the over because I think Joe Burrow, who's been playing lights out football this year, it's too bad he's been playing on such a bad team that no one could appreciate how good he's been playing except his fantasy owners out there. Because this guy has the most touchdowns this year and Cincinnati history to surpass. He's at 36, which surpasses his last year at 35, which surpasses his record 3 years ago, I think at 32. So this is his best year. He's also got 8 or 9 games this year with 3 plus touchdowns. He also has the NFL record with 3 plus touchdowns a game with over 300 yards with 0 interceptions. I think he's at 4 times he's done that with a loss. So, yeah, that's some bad news bears for Joe Burrow. But I think he puts it together. I think the team puts it together, and they come out with a win. So does Drew, and we just differ on the over-on this one. As before we go into the Giants game, James comes in. Flores would be great with Brian Flores. Yeah, you're not wrong. And he comes in. Is Watt officially coming back? Last I looked, that Watt is to play Saturday, but Pickens is still shaky, if you will, if he's coming back. So keep that in mind when you're talking about the over-under. Up next, we got Drew's game of the week. You got the Giants going into Atlanta, playing the Falcons. Giants are 8.5-point underdogs in this game. And the over-under is at 40.5 points. It is hard to say the Giants are going to win any game. But if you've watched the way that the Falcons have been playing, it's hard to say they're going to win any game either. But they're also starting Michael Penix Jr. On Sunday. This is the quarterback that Drew and I have been writing home about pretty much for a year now when we talked about DJ kicking rocks last year and going to this draft. We thought it was a second-round pick, but, Atlanta Falcons thought they should pick him the 8th overall pick, trade out for him, and sign a quarterback that's going to be a bridge there for 3 years to a 26-year-old guy that you're taking into this league. Made no sense. But either way, Drew and I are taking the Falcons to win this game. Drew is also thinking that the Giants are going to get skunked by 9 points, saying the Falcons are going to cover this. I want to go with the Giants because you're looking at a rookie quarterback that's coming into a team that has not been playing as that good. They barely squeaked out a win against the Raiders. And the Giants are kind of as bad as the Raiders. So, should be a closer game for them. I'm going to take the Giants in the spread. And Drew and I are both taking the over because this is one of those games that could get sloppy and get high scored for no good reason. And Drew Lock is your starter, which is bootylicious. You also have, up next, you have the Eagles going into DC playing the Commanders. The Eagles have been flying high, if you will. God damn it. Why did I say that? That just made me vomit in my mouth. That's gross. Anyway, the Eagles are favored 3.5 points in this game. And the over-under is at 45.5 points. This is a fun matchup. Like, as much as I don't want to talk about it, this is the Eagles and DC have played each other fairly close for the past few years. It's just one of those teams that they play each other very well. Usually DC has a number, but the Eagles have really been playing. They've really been connecting and driving, if you will. They're pretty much going to clinch the NFC North or East, and the Commanders are playing for a wild card spot, I feel. Drew and I are both taking the Eagles to win and the Eagles to cover in this game. But Drew's taking the under. I think Jaden Daniels is going to make this a little more exciting, making the Eagles and Saquon work for this a little bit more. And I want to take it in the over. Up next, you got the Cardinals going into Carolina. So, Drew, while you're at it, why don't you just also go to North Carolina? Go, drive over there, too, at the same time. You can do it, bro. Cardinals and playing the Panthers. Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites going into Carolina. And the over-under is at 47 points here. Panthers have been playing a lot better football. They're keeping it a little bit close. They had a resurgence since Bryce Young has come back onto the field after being benched for the redheaded rocket himself. But he's come back. He's played well, but not good enough to really win games. So Drew and I are both taking the Cardinals to win this game, but Drew has enough faith that it's going to be a 3-point game. It feels maybe a 4-point game where he's taking the Panthers in the spread, but I'm still going Cards. They're going to play a tough game, but they're probably going to lose by a touchdown in this. Sorry, Drew. And we're both taking the under. There's not enough faith that these teams are going to be going crazy. So, yeah. Up next, you got the Lions going into Chicago playing the Bears. The Bears. Lions are 6.5-point favorites on the road with the over-under at 48 points. The Bears have been playing terrible football. Almost Giant level terrible. Got awful. They tried to do a rebuild without doing a proper rebuild with getting rid of the coaching staff, which Giant fans, let's take a look at. This is what happens. You get the number one overall quarterback. You get an 8th round pick, whatever it was, 6th or whatever pick he was when you get a Dunze of 11th. And you're not playing as good. Like, you might have been playing better with Justin Fields still on your team. But it's also more down to your coaching and all that there. So Drew and I are going to take the Lions, who got beat up by the Bills. So they're going to want to go out and play for some blood, especially against a divisional game. And Drew and I also took the Lions to win in the spread. Now, Drew took the over in this game, thinking that the Bears could probably put up some points, which in hindsight, Drew, I see where you're going with this. You think the Lions are going to put up 40 points like they did against the Bills. I think as a divisional game, they will hopefully keep it a little closer. So I went with the under in this game. Up next, talk about divisional games. You got the Titans, going into Indianapolis playing the Colts. Now the Colts are 3.5-point favorites at home, which you got a slight edge there with that little 3.5 points at home. And with the over-under at 42.5 points. Drew and I off the bat know right away you put these two teams together, they ain't scoring many points. So we both went with the under because that seemed like the no-brainer there. But we also both took the Colts to win, but I took the Titans in the spread compared to Drew saying straight up Colts win in the spread as well. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, and it's probably going to be like a 10-13. Terrible game to watch. And that is that on that one. Both these defenses play good against one another typically. And I'm just rooting for Levis over there to be another meme-tastic week. Up next, you got the Rams coming into MetLife to play the Jets. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites on the road, with the over-under at 46.5 points. Now, the Jets squeaked out a win last week against a bad team. The Rams are playing possibly for that division over there. Definitely playing for trying to get into the playoffs in general. So, obviously, we think that the Rams are going to win this game. It's also one of these games where I sat there and thought maybe the Jets kicked themselves in the coffee room, the living room table, the coffee table, right in the big toe, just smack, screaming and hollering because you're going to mess up your draft picks later. They might squeak out a win, but I don't think Sean McVay will allow something like that to happen. I think the Rams will win as well. I sat there and thought maybe the Jets could keep it within 3, but nope. Drew and I also took the Rams to cover this game. We both took the under because both offenses have not been firing high caliber, and their defenses have been doing a good enough job to keep it low scoring, averaging lower scored points. So it just makes sense to go with the under in this one. Going into the only 4 o'clock game, you have the Vikings versus the Seahawks. This game is to solidify one thing: the Vikings go into the playoffs and probably kicking the Seahawks out. The Seahawks are given 3 points in this game with the over-under at 42.5 points. This is probably going to be a blowout with the Vikings. They've been firing high caliber. Their defense has been playing great. You got Geno Smith for the Seahawks that's possibly banged up, who might not even play this game. And talk about the beat up defense that Seahawks is currently has. So, yeah, the Vikings are probably going to take Seattle, pull them over that big old Viking knee, and start spanking. Blowout. Bet your house on this game. Actually, don't bet your house on this game. If you have a problem, there's 1-800-GAMBLERS. Just call that number. Don't listen to me. Don't put your money on anything I say. I'm just some guy that's a goofball. So Drew and I agree. Vikings to win this game. Vikings to cover 3 points is not enough. 13 points, I probably still take the Vikings in this game. We both took the over because, let's face it, this Viking team, once they start putting points up, they just don't stop. Let's go Aaron Jones in the playoffs. I need you, bro. At the 425 games, you got the Patriots going into Buffalo, playing the Bills. The Bills are favored by 14 points at home. My God, it's the biggest spread of the week. So spread them wide, Pats, because they're coming in. But they're over under at 46.5 points. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. Bills are probably, on paper right now, the best team in the AFC. Yes, I know that's sacrilegious because I just went against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I went against plenty of other good teams. Josh Allen right now is the Winter Soldier. He is just lights out football. And if only he could carry that into the playoffs, this should be very interesting for the Bills. But he tends to let go, I guess, in January. But hopefully not this year. Hopefully it's the Bills' year this year. I'm taking the Bills to win this game. So is Drew. But Drew has faith in the Patriots to keep it within 14 points. I do not. I typically don't bet against the spread this high, but I do think it's going to be a slaughtering. Yes, it is a divisional game. But you're also going into Buffalo, where those guys eat buffalo wings, they drink beers, and they jump through tables just to tailgate. My God, it's a different type of breed up there. They're going and they're smashing. And I think it's going to be in the over, and so does Drew. Before we get to the next game, yes, Anthony gives an update. We're at the halftime at the Thursday night football game, and it's 21-13. The Chargers just hit a free kick. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Deb says, "Go Vikings." Amen, sister. And she also criticized me, saying, "I can't believe you took the Titans." Listen, it's a divisional game. I didn't take them to win. I think they're going to keep it close in the spread in a very lackluster game. And she also says Bills all the way, 100%. Anthony says the same thing. Definitely the Bills. They definitely win, and I really think it's going to be a shellacking. I think it's probably going to be just as bad as what the Ravens did to us last week, if not worse. All right. The next 4:30 game or 4:25 is you got the Jaguars going into Vegas. This one could go either way because this is also the other two really bad teams in this league that we're fighting for the number one seed in the next year's draft. They're telling you that the Raiders are favored by 1 point in this game, which means it's a flip of a coin. And to be fair, yes, Raiders are at home, but is Vegas really at home to any football team? I don't think so. You got people traveling all around the world and be like, hey, look, there's a football game. Let's go see what those Americans do. Or, hey, I'm in from Maine. Let's go to a football game because it's right there. Let's go. Over under this game is at 39.5 points. Yeah, maybe this is a biased pick, but Drew and I both picked, not talking about this game, we both picked about the Raiders. And I was leaning towards the Jags, but listen, I'm going to put them black and silver on Sunday and say, let's go Raiders, because I want that number one pick. Let's go Raiders, the Raiders. 1 point. Do we really think it's going to be a push? That takes some ballsy move with a 1 point. Or taking the Raiders as well. And just because it's a terrible, terrible, terrible game, it's probably going to end in the under because, yeah. The only thing that could change that is both of these defenses are trash besides Max Crosby, who's been by far the best player on the Raiders and one of the best defensive players of the year past couple years. But I really can't see how this game goes over, especially with all the injuries that both these teams have on offense. Is just going to be terrible. And the fire sale they've done, gross. So, yes, Drew and I are both taking the Raiders to win, the Raiders to cover, and we're taking the under because I'll be excited if it goes over 30. As Anthony chimes in, saying Josh Allen is playing absolutely insane football right now. It is fantastic because he's also in another fantasy football league I have. And wow, if you got Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow, you're doing good in fantasy football when it comes to quarterbacks. Absolutely, Allen has been playing like the Winter Soldier. I love it. As Anthony also comes in, Jags versus Raiders is an absolutely true toilet bowl. Yep, where all the shit is going to shine. Sunday Night Football, the first one we got coming up because we got two this week. We got the Niners playing the Dolphins in Miami. Dolphins are favored by 1 point in this game, which tells you it's a flip of the coin with an over-under at 44.5 points. Now, this game, you should see some points on the board. Yes, the Niners' offense is banged up. The defense for Miami has been playing sneakily better than normal, but when you talk about sneakily better than normal, isn't saying that much because they've been like a below 20 for the most part, below 25 defense in this league for the past few years, and they're playing like that 20 mark. I don't think that I don't think that Miami Dolphins has recovered truly offensively as a juggernaut as they once were at the beginning of this year. Yes, you got Tua back, but it's just they haven't looked the same. The Niners, we all know they're CMC, a Juke. These guys are all banged up, but they also have depth. They got a great line. Drew and I are not seeing eye to eye in this game. I'm taking the Niners in this game, and Drew's taking Miami. And nothing changes but a point differential. I'm taking the Niners in this game, and Drew's taking Miami in this game. But we're both taking the over in this game. So this is going to be one of those ones that makes the difference in our yearly totals and obviously the weekly totals. All right. the next game. So you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into Dallas playing them boys, the Capukes, if you will. The Bucs on the road favored by 4 points with the over-under at 48.5 points. I looked at that, looking at the way these two teams have been playing. That's insane. Under all the way. Drew said the same thing. He picked the under. And we actually agreed across the board. Dallas is shutting down. They have not played good football. They're playing with a second-string quarterback who has not been playing well. Bucs defense has been kind of sneaky good this year. They play in spurts, and they're playing against a beat-up Dallas team on offense. Dallas's defense has not looked like what it's been the past few years because Drew and I talked about it a few times. Quinn is gone. And the Bucs are playing and hopefully are trying to get that number 1 seed in the AFC South, or NFC South. So this is a very meaningful game for him. So Bucs in the under. Drew's 100% on board. All right. Monday Night Football. You got the Saints come marching in. They go play the Packers with the crazy spread of 14 points, which is tied for the highest spread of the week with the Bills. The over-under in this game is at 42 points. This is crazy game. I actually think it's crazy that the spread's this low. I think this should be a little higher. The Packers are a way better team than the Saints. Drew and I both are taking the Packers in this game. It is amazing that if you look at the NFC North, you got the dominant Lions at number 1, a solid number 1. You got the Minnesota Vikings, a great number 2, clinched the playoffs. And you got the Packers, who's got 9 wins, which would be like a leader in pretty much any other division, probably 50% of the other divisions in this league to be the first place. But they have to go and play in this division where they have to fight for a wild card spot. So it's very meaningful for them. Saints are way out of playoff potential. I mean, it's absolutely garbage to them. I don't even know who the starting quarterback is. Is it Riller? Is it the rookie? It doesn't even matter. Packers win. Drew's taking the Saints in this cover. I'm doubling down on big spreads this week. I think the Packers are going to put up a show and probably win by 17 points. I think it's going to be like one of those games that's going to be like 10, probably be like 7 to like 24. Not a high scoring game at all, but enough where the Packs win in the under. Drew's also taking the over. So this is a very, very consequential Monday Night Football game for us. Depending on where Drew and I are sitting, we're way, way different. He's taking the Packers to win, the Saints to cover, and the over. I'm taking the Packers to win, the Packers to cover the spread, and I'm taking the under in this game, which is exciting because Drew and I have been playing close all year long. If you look at our stats from last week and overall, because I didn't go over at the beginning, I should have. Shame on me, because I won last week. You think I should have been right up on that, Drew? You think I should have been up on that? Yeah. I had 32 points to Drew's 29 points. Drew had 13 picks straight up against the spread. Straight up. I had 11. Kind of like wishy-washy there. I know. Either way, 13 wins. That's a hell of a week. 11 picks is great. Drew had 8 picks against the spread. I had 6. Not so hot. But he only had 6 wins in the over-under column. I had 11. Made those points right up, which gave me 4 trifectas last week to Drew's 2, which caused me to win the week by 3, which only put Drew in a 10-point lead on the year. 428 points to my 418 points. So very exciting down the last few weeks. Drew, I'm coming for you for the next year win. So that pretty much sums it up, guys. I want to thank you all for listening. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You can always find us every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and post game, which is usually Sundays. We're live at 9 o'clock during the week, right after the game on Sundays, unless it's moved over. This week coming up, because it's Christmas, it's going to be a little crazy. Stay tuned. The easiest way to stay tuned on what we're doing is make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. We're on Apple. If you're listening to us on audio, we're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on Dozer. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on wherever you get your audio podcast from. We're also always live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and he's not even here. Drew's LinkedIn profile. My God. But yes, going back to what I was saying before, we'll be live on Monday. We'll recap the week for you. Christmas Eve is also Tuesday. We also have Christmas on Wednesday, which means it cuts into our summing up the Giants playing on Sunday on our Wednesday podcast. So we might be doing that on Thursday and going over the week on Friday. We have to figure that out. Who knows? You might get a Christmas Eve special. Like I said, hit the like, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, find out what we're doing. Once again, thanks again for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry that Drew wasn't here. Yeah, listen to me humming and hawing. Was fun though, guys. We'll have to do this again on Monday. Let's go, Giants. Let's watch this game. And as always, let's go, Dreamin'! Dream, stop dreaming.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.